All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to our day 9 for our Java programming training. We've been going through many concepts, and all that we have done is there as good sets of code that we are consistently developing in practice. And one of the most important assignments that I have kept requesting you all to do is to repeat whatever we're doing in the session. That should give you a great hold on overall programming concepts, team. Then you can go to the next level and slowly increase what you want to do. All right, so I'm going to keep everything that we have here as is. We've done a few assignments, we've done a few sample Java programs. Today we're going to talk about OOPS concept, team. So to talk about OOPS, before I go into writing it in programming, let's just analyze this. So when I look at an if else or a for loop or a while, and you'll see some other things that will keep adding and so on, those build up your basic programming blocks, okay, as to what to control, what to do, when to do, how to perform certain activities. So when you think about large software applications or programs that manage, bigger functionalities or features in them, it will try and use a lot of this code, and the complexity of this code will keep on increasing. So one of the most important aspect, team, that Java or any of these programming languages want to bring is the concept of some kind of a pattern or similarities, using which it is able to do things more efficiently. Now, when I say patterns or similarities, what do I mean? We talk about the overall power of creation. So let us say you get to play God, then how would you create a world? How would you create your own programming world in this case? But when we talk about this, now we'll understand a lot about OOPS concept. So let's get there here. I don't need to save this one. And think about how things work, team. All right. Now, in a very simple concept, let us take an example. Let us talk about cars. Okay. When I say the word car, what comes to your mind, everyone? What comes to your mind when I say cars? So it basically has four wheels. It has an engine. You can sit in it. You can do, no, okay, let's talk about it a little differently. Okay. When I want to talk about car, I'll talk about its color, four wheels, make, model, blah, blah, blah. That tells me what kind of a car it is. Okay. Then what is it that I can do on a car? I can drive my car. I can park my car. I can honk a car and so on. Right? Is this correct, team? So yes, you have a color for it and so on. Now, this portion of it that I've defined here is used to define what car it is. My car is a black car, it is a sedan, it is, let us say, Beamer, um, you know, 2008 model, and a VIN number, a license plate number. All this gives information about the vehicle, right? So that is more like what we call as properties of it. Okay. Now, when I talk about driving a car or parking a car or honking on a car, these are activities that I can perform. These are activities that I can perform on that vehicle. So when you talk about anything in life, team, basically you can break down objects into two things. One is properties to define or identify it. And then we talk about methods or actions that we can perform on the object. So when I talk about example, car, so we will have properties as color, make, model, etc. And then methods that you can perform. So when I say methods, what can we do on it? Like honk, park, drive, etc. Okay. We have not yet come to implementing the concept, team. We're talking about why there is a need for such a concept. So this gives me, or now let us say, for example, this was example one. Now example two, if I say a phone, you have something similar, maybe not color, we'll say make, model, I don't know what else do we say in a phone, team? Make, model, number. You have a phone number, and EMEI, what is that number that's there? There's a camera and so on. Methods, you can basically text, you can call, you can click a picture, you can take a video, you can surf, blah, blah, blah. So those are the things you can perform on it. So this becomes more like a blueprint that every car or phone must follow, right? So every car must be able to drive, park, or honk, not self, but at least a human is involved. So it is with the phone, every phone must be able to do certain activities. So they follow a given blueprint. So classes define that blueprint or a pattern or a frame. Okay. Objects are created, like you make a real version of the blueprint. When I say created, using the class. So automatically it has certain properties and methods that it can do. So that way I know a phone cannot do what car may do and vice versa. But though you will see slowly all of this kind of merging together, and we'll come to that concept also. Okay, now let us talk about how we put this into practice, team. So I'm going to go into our Java programming. So there are about three projects here, team, in Java for Kids. So at any time I want to go to my local directory, I'll right click on any of these projects, and say show in System Explorer. It would then take me to the folder where all these projects are present. So these are the ones that we were working on, team. Okay. So when I shared that folder, I shared this entire thing with you all in Skype group. All right, let's continue. Now let's start with a new project, everyone. And I'll say this is a new Java project. Let us call this as oops. And what is oops? As a definition, I will talk about, but let's put a definition for it at least. Oops is a object oriented programming system. So when I say object oriented, in the sense we will start thinking of the programs that we write more using the object concept. So when I say object concepts, how do we come there? I'll come to array and data types later, team. Those will anyway get covered now, but oops is very important. I don't need a module. I'm going to avoid creating anything as unessential, team, just to keep things very simple. All right. Now, let's see. How's everyone doing? Very few attendees today. Maybe it's a weekend. SRC. So now let's talk about this. So the first thing I'll have to create is a concept of a class. Now, when I say a class, this is what it always meant, team. All right. Sorry. Now look, I'm going to call this as car. That's the name of it. And I'm putting the default package and so on. You can leave it there. I am not going to create a main method, everyone. Notice what I'm doing here, okay? And I'll say finish. Now, remember there are two things that go for two important, what do I say? Too important. I want to talk about properties and methods. Two important aspects for now, okay? Oops, what are they? The first is the properties. And then I will come to the next one, which are my methods. Now let us see. In this class called car, I'm creating a few properties. I will say there's a string color, string make, a string model, and enough. Okay, maybe a license plate number. There are 4 properties, team, that I'm giving to a new blueprint called car that I'm creating. And this is my specific car, so I can call it as my car. If you change your class name here, it has to be the same exact as the class Java file name here, team. So change there also by right click on refactor and then rename. So this, we're going to change it to my car. So they have to be in sync. Now, most importantly, if you notice, there is no main method yet. There's no main method yet. All right. Now, methods. What are methods? Methods as to what my car can do. So the first thing, it is public void honk. And here I'll say pom pom. That's a honk sound. Okay. It's not going to give a sound, but it's going to print statement. Now see how I'm dividing properties and then methods. I'll also say drive, and here I'm going to say zoom, zoom, and park, sleep well. So I kind of parked. Now you sleep well. Now, let me ask you a question, team. When someone works, let us say, in a Mercedes manufacturing or a Porsche manufacturing in Germany somewhere, in the design studios, and they're part of that IT development team, for actually programming what should happen when they drive or park or honk, will it have only one line of code inside? Yes or no, team? Will it have one line of code? Exactly, you're all right. No, no possible way. It'll have maybe hundreds or maybe thousands also. But this one print statement is just to say that, okay, there is at least one line of code. Let us assume that there's more that is coming. Now, what we have done is this mycar.java is now a class. It has become a blueprint. Now what I can do, I can make objects based on it. So think of it like a molding platform for a dough or anything that you want to put, or like an ice tray. You put water into that shape, put it in the freezer, it will come out in that shape. That is what classes do. Objects will always look the same, but then you can do certain customizations on it. Now look team, mycar.java is created. Here I will write a new class, and this class will be my car. Okay, my car.java is there. Or actually it should not be my car. This can be anyone's car team, right? It is not necessarily only my car. This can be there for anyone. Anyone who wants to use my car will go through this structure. So I'll say any car. Now I'm going to create a new program and call this. How do I call this? Hmm. Okay, I'll say start my day. And this will have a main method. Okay. And start my day will basically be a simple program which will start with Siso, good morning, and end with a good night. Makes sense? And somewhere in between, we want to go for a drive and come back. Okay. Uh, tick, 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 tick. I hope I'm not confusing you. That's all I'm trying to think through. Okay, good morning, good night. All right. Now, please notice that anycar.java and startmyday.java are in the same folder right now, team. So we have created this pattern called anycar. Okay. Out of this, I can create my car called car1. Maybe I'll have more cars. We'll come to it in a while. Okay. And then car 2 and car 3. We are now going to create those cars team. To do that, what I need to say is any car C1 equals to new any car. Open brackets, close brackets. Now, what I just did is like we create a variable by saying int a equals 11. It says the type, what name I should call it by, equals to the value. Correct, everyone? In this case, there's only a single value because it's a single variable, so it is easier. But in a case of an object, it will have a certain number of things associated with it, properties and methods, what you can do on them. So the way I define an object is class name object name equals new class name. That is the golden standard team that we will use. And you'll start seeing that how we create these objects. Now think of it like this again, team. Your variable is like a single line, right? Or a one memory, but your object has lot more details. How? Now see what will happen. If I say C1, when I say C1, it is automatically pointing to that object that I created in line 11. It got created just like A got created in line 8. And I say dot onto it. The first few things with this kind of a triangle icon are those properties team. Color, license, make, model. The next few things are what we can do on them. There are methods that we created and typical few inbuilt methods that every object or class will have. But let us not worry about everything. For us, only we worried about color, license, make, model. Why is it able to see these values? Because any car.java is already here and it's using this pattern. If I say honk, and let's say I'll say one honk, or honk I can't do. Honk one, for example. Okay, and save this. Now, the according code here, where are you? C1 dot. See, it will be honk one. Did you notice everyone? Yes or no? So this any car.java is your pattern. You can only follow that. That is what you can do. Only those properties, only those methods. Okay, any car becomes for any car. This is my specific cars. Now I'll say C1 dot color equals black. C1 dot license equals 123. C1 dot make equals zipper. C1 dot model equals, what else will we write here? Model, okay, I'll say one. Now these are loading those properties team. Okay, model 2020, that's fine too, yes. Model year and so on. Let me draw this diagram. I'm trying to draw a diagram. It's not coming here. Now it's coming. Okay. So see, it is basically created for this object certain number of parameters into it. There is a color, license, make, model. So how many variables does it have now? 4 variables, but put together as one thing. They all represent one. For this, there's a value, this, there's a value, this, there's a value, this, there's a value. But these are the data that is stored for this object. So anytime I can say now, so this is create a blank object, set object properties, and I'll say run methods. So when I say run methods, what can I do? I will just have to say same C1 dot drive and say C1 dot honk one, C1 dot park. There we go. And those are my methods. There seems to be an error. Let's save and see if everything is gone. Yep, there's just a warning. Let's see what is that warning. Can anyone guess what that yellow warning can be, team? What do you think that yellow warning is? the line number also is visible. And I want you to get very, very comfortable with that. Immediately, you should know why there's a yellow warning or the red error. Figure out, not using the help of Eclipse. You're right, team. So we've defined this variable A, we have initialized it, but never used it. I was just showing you on how to create. Now, when we execute this, let us watch what happens. Instead of doing a full run, let's do a debug run, team. Okay, I'll put a toggle breakpoint here. And we're gonna do, oops, if I do run, it'll just run everything. Did it do? Good morning, zoom, zoom, pom pom, park, sleep well, good night. So that's what we wanted to do. Okay, so we basically are now giving it a pattern. When I give a pattern, what is the biggest advantage for it, team? What is it that we can do about it? Okay, now this is C1. I can create any number of objects like this and call them when and how I want. And now I'll say any car C2 because C1 is already used. C2, 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 C2. Drive, honk one, park. There are few variations to it, team. We'll keep slowly arriving at them, but I want you to understand what these methods are kind of doing for us and so on in general. Okay, we'll come to static, non-static, private, so on. Any questions so far, team? Let's review this code once again. All right. Ting, ting, ting. Why do we need to place a dot after C2, right? So let's make sure C2 is there. So this is red. Excuse me. All right, there's a couple of questions. Why do we need to place a dot after C2 and C1? It is, and I don't see any other questions. And line number 1. So let's start from the beginning. So here's my line number 1, just a public class start my day, and public static void main and so on. So I've created this, and here I'm creating C1, doing certain activities with C1. Then I'm creating C2 and doing certain activities with C2. Now it doesn't matter if it is in the same order or not, team. It is primarily which order you want to execute things. So if I do a debug run, we would kind of get a better perspective. So there's already a breakpoint on line 11. Let's do a debug and let's not switch. There will be nothing in C1 for now, but at this point, it'll try and go in to create something new. So we're going to step over this and let's take something, a mouse over C1. Do you see this, team? C1, color, license, make, model. All these are assigned to it as soon as we create C1. By default, there'll be no value in it, but the property names are there assigned to it. Okay, and as we go on assigning these values, it will slowly get into showing those values here. See, now it is updated. So whenever I want, I can retrieve it. So then, though, listen to this statement very carefully, team. Though there is one name I'm calling it with, like C1, there are 100 qualifications that C1 may have. Let us say it's a human, right? From age, email, password, name, blah, 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 height, DNA, whatever, right? To collect about a human being. So that becomes a solid record for us on any object, and that will remain intact. There is nothing to maintain about a method. The only thing to maintain about a method is when we do an execution, let us say we say step into, we go into that method, we go inside that method, and we are executing that specific method for it. Once we're done with it, we primarily coming out, and then next one, and so on. So now at this point, C2 is nothing. When I do step over, you'll see that C2 got created with blank, the same as last, and each time it is adding values into it. Got it, everyone? And the methods that we're performing are same. Now look at what else we can do. Something like let's build a robot team. Now, for a robot, first I need a blueprint without the main method. That will be my main class. Okay, my robot, and no main method, say finish. Here, what are the properties? That's the first one. So I'll say string model, comma, what else? Model is there. What else can I give for a robot? Anyone? Think of what it can do, how we can. Color is simple, shape is also, maybe size we can. I can say tech, yeah. What kind of a technology type? Size maybe enough. Okay. Model, technology, and a size. Now, what does a robot do? It will basically do public void move. But here I need to say how many spaces it has to move. So count spaces. Now, what is happening is we are also giving this method an input parameter. So that way, when I call this from the object, I need to say how many spaces it moved. So position is the other thing. Okay, tick, 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 tick. Good. And here, position, I'll make it actually, I'm thinking this through, team. Position equals 0. That's the default we're giving to everything. Default position from center, how far we're moving. So here I will say POS equals the old POS plus count number of spaces that it will go. Now, what is the problem here? Can someone tell me, team? Why is there an issue? Line 8, there is a red underline on count space. This is count spaces. I need an extra S. Java is very sensitive. You need to really treat it well. Only then it will do what we want to do. Okay. Now, I will say sleep int for time, and here sleep for certain seconds. And we will do this and wake up. It's getting complicated a little bit. I still wanted to keep the logic constant. Okay. String mod text size position 0. Then Boolean sleep equals by default yes. If I say sleep, then sleep will become yes. If I say wake up, it will become no. Sleep Boolean. Okay, so let's put this as string for now. Trying to find a concept where I can use Boolean. I will get there. Size, battery, there's so many things, right? But let's focus on this for now. I have the following team. Hello, stop it here. And see, I have parameters, model, technology, size, okay? Position and sleeping, yes or a no. By default, it is sleeping. If I say sleep, then yes. If I say wake up, then no, okay? Now, only if it is awake will I be able to move spaces. So I'll say if this dot, I don't want to introduce you to these yet. Sleeping cannot move. Wake up first. Here else. Moved to plus POS. Oopsie. See, that's why I use the right indents team, so I know which is where. Now see what I'm doing here. POS, if this dot sleep, okay. If this dot sleep, should I use right now for you guys? For us. Okay, what is this? I'll explain. Give me time for next session to explain you this, but I'll try because it becomes very important. Now, how many methods do we have? Move, sleep, and wake up. And how many properties do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's create class my RoboFarm1. And this RoboFarm1 basically will do something like this team. Let's see what we're trying to do now. My rob, I'll say my robo team. That's a better name. Refactor, rename this to my robo. Finish my robo. This is changed. Robo farm 1. My robo. What is my robo now? Can someone tell me? Please think of what I'm doing as I'm progressing on it and explain to me what is my robo. What is the one that I highlighted, everyone? What is the team? Please put your answers in the chat, everyone. It's not my main title. It's not my class. I mean, the class I created. Yes. there's one correct answer, team. Instance, no. The one we wants to function, no. String, no. Very no, wrong answer. My robo is a class name. That's it. Is that clear, everyone? My robo is nothing but a Java class. You can make what out of them, out of a class? What can you make from a class?
Sorry. If program will come team, but what do you make? Why do you create a class? Just take a glass of water. To create or
Yes, everyone. We are creating objects now. How do we create an object? We say my robo, that's the class name, equals object name R1 equals, it's a new object. It is not there in the memory yet. New my robo. Why we repeating it twice? You'll know later when we start working on child and parent classes and so on. Okay, so now we have created one. Now we have few properties, team. By default, there's certain things that we give and see. What are the two defaults that we're giving here for R1? Everyone? What are the two default properties? There are 5 properties in total. By default, how many values are we giving? 2. One is the position, the other is the sleep status. So as soon as we give, it is sleeping. So give me a second, team. I'm carrying too many things in my hand. Okay. So if I say r1.pos and r1.sleep, it'll already have a value into it. Let's put that and call one of these methods. What is R1 now? Can anyone tell me? You told me Robo Farm 1. My Robo was a class name. What is R1? R1 is an object from that class, that blueprint. So class is the main one. Okay, it sits on the top. From the class, you can create any object. So R1 created, I can create R2 also. Why is there a line on R1 and R2? Warning line. We created this object, memory is getting occupied, we're not using it. Java is giving us a suggestion, do we want it or not? Now, if I just print R1 dot position and I say current position is plus this, and I also print R1 dot, what else did we give? See, the good thing is in Eclipse, as soon as I do this, I'll see the suggestions coming up. So that's good for me. Position size sleep. Sleep state sleeping and R1 dot sleep. Now let's run this. Not used. Yes. So current position is 0, sleeping, yes. So now if I say R1 dot move, where is move? Oh, here. And say move 10 spaces, what will happen, team? And then I need to see again the position and the sleep status, let us say after. Okay, actually, I think it'll print, but let us still do this. Okay, So it primarily is saying that it is sleeping. If R1 is sleeping, how can I move it? I cannot. So then what do I need to do? I say R1 dot sleep equals set it to no now. Okay. And then you say R1 dot move by 10 spaces. At this point, what will happen? So it has moved 10 spaces. Now, if I make another move by 70 spaces, what will the new position be? I finished to 10. If I start from to 70, then this didn't work, team. Remember, because it was sleeping. Line 10. Okay. So we moved 10 and we're moving 70. Now let us see. So moved 10, then moved 70, moved to 80. So it is adding to it constantly. And it will keep going till you stop the program and come back. When you start again, your R1 dot position will always be 0. When your program starts, the position is 0. As your program goes, the position changes. Now, where is that my robot.java? What else did I write here? Move is done. Sleep is there. Wake up is there. So that is nice. Ting, 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 ting. This dot sleep, this dot sleep I should do rather, but let us see. R1 dot sleep. Open brackets, close bracket, because that's a method, team. What is the issue here? Oh, it wants a number of seconds it wants to sleep. So I'll say 2000 milliseconds, team. That is a number that I can use to sleep. That is like 2 seconds. So here I will say sleep for thread dot sleep. This is a Java command. I will say for this much amount of time. And this may throw an error. I have to come to exceptions to you later. But for now, I'll just say throws exception here. Now the problem is this is also being called here. So this is also throws exception. I will use a lot of sleep commands, team, as we keep going. But just primarily when it comes to it, you'll notice that there is a pause for about 2 seconds. Okay, because we gave that there. Now R1 dot sleep is 2 seconds. And then I say R1 dot move by 1 space. What would happen? Let us see. Sleep for 2 seconds. So when I'm sleeping for 2 seconds, team, should I change this yes to yes or no? It's already slept, right? Then let us not change this, correct? We are waiting for it for only certain number of time. We need to wake up. That is correct. You're right. Very nice observation, team. We have, if we put it to sleep, we also have to wake up R1. So R1 dot sleep and then R1 dot wake up. That's the only way. So if I make it sleep and then I say R1 dot wake up, this does it require time? Why does R1 dot wake up require time, team? Wake up should wake up immediately, correct? You're waking up on the time. So I don't need to use time. And in fact, I've not used it anywhere. Now this again, if I look at, because earlier it was asking me to give a input parameter. This is exactly like our functions, team, that we were learning. Where are they? Here. Where we can pass parameters and we can get data back and so on. So we're building using these, again, reusing that concept here. Okay, now it's getting a little confusing. So R1 dot sleep for 2 seconds, R1 dot move 1, R1 dot wake up is there, then I'll say R1 dot move 1. Okay, now if I execute this, 80, move to 10, move to, did you see that? It waited for a certain number of time. Let me increase this to 5 seconds. Sleeping cannot move, wake up first. There you go, move to 81. And in here, I'm not putting any statements, team. I'll print here. I'll say sleeping, slept rather, for plus for time. Then here, I'll say woke up. So we're knowing what's happening. And I want to give this in front, team. Do you know why I'm giving these greater than symbols before the print statements? Anyone? I'll explain this dot, team, tomorrow in the next session. But why am I giving these? For a better readability out here. So I know exactly what is the statement that is coming from my class. So I can use it. I can easily look at. So that's right. For a better recognition. We will not be confused. That is correct. So now let us run this again. RoboFarm 1. So RoboFarm 1, what we're doing is we are moving these robots one after the other. Now it's going to wait for 5 seconds, team. And then slept for 5 seconds, sleeping, cannot move, wake up first, woke up, moved to 81. So all this is now helping us to do certain activities, team. Now, ting, tick, tick, ting, tick, 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 ting. When I do parallel threads, I can do a few more about it. Now, what can I do with an R2? R2 dot sleep. Let's see, what is that? R2 dot sleep equals, so we'll know the value. What happened to R2? R2 is here. Why is it not taking sleep? Okay. Something somewhere. I'm just trying to work on R2. R2 dot sleep. What is wrong with it? What am I doing with it? I think. So here, R2 status. This is a new one. Plus R2 dot sleep. And now see what we can do. R2 dot if R2 dot sleep dot equals no, then I'll say R2 dot move by 10. Okay, else there is nothing. And else what I will do is this. Don't get confused anything about R1, R2 and so on, team. I've kept it very simple. This is robot. It's got a model, technology, size that you can allot to it. But for me, most important is a position to it. We're going in a single line right now, all robots. And they either sleep or they're moving forward. They sleep, wake up or moving forward. If they're in sleep, it cannot move. That's the only logic we are doing. The R2 is moving. It's trying to move. So we say R2 dot sleep, what is the status initially? And then if it is no, then move. If it is yes, then I'll have to make R2 dot wake up. And then I'll say R2 dot move 10 positions and so on. Now, see, and then maybe I'll put R2 dot back to sleep for it for time 10 seconds or 5 seconds is fine. Now let's also watch R2 everyone. So we finished R1. We'll look at this specific hyphen sign to see how that print is coming. Now we have done any car and we have done robo farm. So let's see this now. So move to 1080. This is for R1. R2 status, yes. So woke up, moved to 10, slept for 5 seconds. And that's nice. So now you could make it interesting. If they're running in parallel lines, when do these meet, each of them? Would they ever overlap on each of it? What do you need to get onto the other? And you can also do something. You can say R2 dot move and say -5. You are actually moving backwards in that now. So using the same myRobo, I can create any number of objects. So with one class, I can create any object and each object will behave in a similar pattern. I can change the model, technology size, position, sleep status, certain customizations around the methods, but in general, there's a lot of commonality, and that's important. Sleeping cannot move, wake up first. R2 dot move. Okay. R2 dot wake up is important, and then the move. Watch this code, everyone, and try and write this, please. If you want to get into OOPS, um, easier one is what we were looking at, that any car, and then you can also go to this robo. Robo is very simple because it's just got a position and a sleep status. I didn't say how many seconds I need to sleep. Okay, maybe. Let's see. Where was it? Robo Farm 1. Wake up. So wake up immediate. Sleep, I said 5 seconds here. So if I try and say R2 dot sleep and don't give anything here, it'll be an error, team, right now, because there's only one variable as input and it always expects one variable unless you give it more options. So that's the basic introduction, team, into OOPS. Let's play around a little bit more on this. There are a few more interesting concepts that will fit inside it now. All right, everyone. Any questions, please? Next session, Monday. We're off for the weekend as usual. Please feel free to raise your hand if you have a question as well. Let me see. Do we add the size of the robot in RoboFarm or myRobo? Size of the robos. Okay, see. MyRobo.java is a blueprint, correct? This is the class. If we add it here, the size or tech and so on, it is like writing it into the blueprint. Then what will happen from the master? Any object that you create will always have that. So same size they will have, unless you go and change it. So if you don't want that to be common for every object, then you customize it. So you will put that size, everything in a program when you want to use it. So here you can say r1.size equals large, and give data and use that data when you want. I have one hand raised. Let me see, please. Did I answer your question, Bhavneet? That's a good question. Cheryl, I answered your question on, you didn't say how many seconds you need to sleep. We did. How did we use tech then? We did not use it. So for example, the model, tech and size, I did not even use it. So it's like, you bought a car and you're never using certain features in the car ever. Let us say you never use a car navigation system because you use your own Google Maps or whatever. So many other features that you may not use. So they're there for you to use. If you don't want to use them, you don't have to. Objects come with it, but what you want to set, what you want to use is your call. But as a standard, yes, we can set it up as a good model that everything should have some default values and so on. But it's okay. Good developers won't let it happen otherwise. Cheryl, you have a question?
Yeah. So that wasn't my question because that's what I said last time. But my question now was, it says move to 5, even though you put -5.
Oh, let me see. So in RoboFarm 1, R2 dot move to 5. I see. You're right. Let us see. So this is the move. So count spaces. Shall we debug and find out why is it doing? So let's put a breakpoint on line 31. So before I get in here, it'll break. There's also a breakpoint earlier, not on this. Hit the debug run mode. It'll hit the breakpoint soon. There's 2 seconds and 5 seconds wait. Don't switch the perspective. I don't use it. Don't need this also. So here I'm going to say step into team. It'll take me inside this method. So at this point, count spaces is -5. That is the input that we got, which is correct. Now, is the sleeped Y for this? I don't know. If I take my mouse over, it is no. If it is yes, then we cannot. So no, it should come now to line 12. So we're going to do a step over. It doesn't have to go deeper into it. There you go. So line 12 and the old position is 10. That is the reason. The old position was 10 and now we did a -5 on it. So the new one is 5. So let us say I redo this and I do R2 dot move by -25. So then you will notice that it has gone deeper into the negative. Just those numbers 10 minus 5 became 5 and it looked like that. Otherwise the code is correct. But that's a good question. Good notice, Cheryl. Do we need to place a dot after? That is correct. For either the properties or methods, you need to place a dot after the object name and then it will start showing up. Now let us see, move to -20 because we moved -25. There was a couple more hands raised, they went down. I'm assuming no more questions. Great. So team, please look at this video and I'll see you back on Monday then. Sorry, you've got one hand raised. Deepthi, you muted at your end.
Hello?
Yes, Varsha, you need to put a dot after every object. So only then will it come. R1 dot You can see the properties and the methods that you can perform. Yes, Deepti, go ahead, please.
Sir, actually, I have joined after a little bit gap, so I just wanted to know where can I access the codes that you are teaching in the class? Could you please help me with that?
Okay. Number one, I don't share the code while the
Okay,
sessions are going. What I ask
okay,
everyone to do is to watch the video and write your own code, because that's a good way to learn. But
okay,
however, we also have a Skype group, and the
okay,
code, I believe till yesterday or day before, was put already in that Skype group.
okay.
Okay.
So, where can I get the link for the Skype group, sir?
It's there in this Google document. It is also there when you go to Java for Kids. You can see the
Okay,
Google document link here, Skype group link here. You can see
okay,
all the videos till day 8. Day 9 today will come there.
okay. And also, sir, I wanted to ask you, I think the question is quite
Mhm.
not relevant with respect to this session today. So I just wanted to ask you that when is the QA
Sure.
course gonna
So
start?
uh, another 8, 9, 10 days, I would say 12th October, I have
Okay,
5, 6 more sessions in core Java that I want to
o-
complete. So once I finish this, we will go on to it. But
okay,
even then, a lot of QA members started joining
okay.
slowly because they also want some basics on the programming.
Yes, yes.
We will again cover these at length when we do get there. So the
Okay,
files till the weekend, till day 7, I believe I already shared in the Skype group. So please join there.
okay,
I also put the Google document link in the chat right now, so you can take that, or
okay.
you'll find it on the website as well.
And also, sir, when while I'm attending this class through my phone, so I could not see the chat box appearing.
Chat box, so everything will be shrunk in your GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar unless you
Okay,
click on it and select that option. You have to play around a little bit more with the application GoToWebinar. You'll be able to
okay,
figure it out.
okay,
But
fine.
honestly, smartphone audio is okay. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the video, since I share a large screen, it may
Right.
not be very clear and visible for you. It's okay
Okay,
when
fine.
you're on the road or something you need to attend, but I'm sure there'll be limited features of GoToWebinar on it.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
Yes, thank you so much for your
you're
response.
welcome. All right, everyone. Thank you then. Take care. Have a great
Thank you so
weekend.
much.
You're welcome, Dipti. Thank you all. Bye.